Good morning, students. Welcome back to the next session of Artificial Intelligence. Well, in the last class, we have discussed the concept on resolution, and we have discussed regarding resolution graph, and we have seen how the procedure will needs to perform while taking the process of resolution. That means in the process of resolution, it takes the input as CNF, and we need to convert the CNF by taking an input as first order logic, that is FOL. So using that, we are proving any statement, proving the fact from the given set of fact through a process called as resolution. So after this process, the next is regarding semantic networks. So before going to semantic networks, first we will see what are the techniques on knowledge representation. So in knowledge representation, as we are discussing completely on knowledge representation, in knowledge representation, the first thing what we have seen regarding the logical agents. So in the logical agents, we have seen about propositional logic, okay, and also we have seen about first order logic or first order predicate logic. Okay, along with that, there are various other knowledge representation such as semantic networks, which we are going to see today's in this class. Along with that, we have frames. Also, we will be going to see these two concepts, okay, and there is another concept which is called as production rules. So this production rules are nothing but it uses a combination of if then. If a condition will be there, based on the particular condition, then it takes a particular action. So set of such rules are called as production rules. So right now in this session, in this class, we will be going to see on semantic networks and frames. So now this semantic networks are what exactly a semantic network refers to. See, every student are well aware of the two things, that is syntax and semantics. So syntax is something, the representation of a language. I mean, it concentrates or it checks the grammar part of the language. Whereas the semantic term is used in order to check whether the given grammar or whether the given line of code or a sentence will give you a proper, a valid meaning for the valid meaning or not. So it checks what the process of giving a valid conclusion or not. So this is how the semantic works here. Now, what this mean by a network? It means that we are creating a network where through the network we are getting a conclusion on the facts. See here, the knowledge representation, okay, the knowledge base contains what? Knowledge. I mean the set of facts. Now this set of facts will be represented in the form of network, and that are basically semantic network, because this network will give you a meaningful conclusion or giving full meaningful information. Just try to understand the topic name here. That's the reason, that's why it is called as semantic network, or it's called as also semantic nets. So we will be seeing that how these facts will be represented through semantic networks. And these are the more flexible way of representing the facts, because it can easily extract the previous information. I mean, it goes back to the previous information easily through the help of network. Now this semantic network or semantic net was a concept which was proposed in the year 1960 by M. Ross Quillen, and this person has represented it actually been implemented to represent the meaning of English words. The problem in the first order logic is that first order logic is very difficult compared to propositional logic because it uses a symbol, okay, and it is very complex also in terms of its nature. But because of the semantic network, it finds very easy to extract the information or to perform the process of inferencing. I already repeated the term called inferencing. Inferencing means collecting the new information or collecting some extra information from the given set of facts, okay, is the process of inferencing. So because of this semantic networks, this process becomes very easier compared to other ways of knowledge representation. That's the reason why you can use as an alternate for predicate logic. This predicate logic means first order logic for knowledge representation. And real time also, mostly they will be using semantic networks only. Why this is easier if you compare with the other one is because the presentation in a network will let us understand the path to find a particular fact. Okay, anyhow, I'll be giving you an example. By that example, you will come to know that how can you represent the knowledge in the form of a network, which is a graphical network. So basically, as you know, that network consists of two things. What are those? Nodes and edges, right? So that's the reason why here also it considered as network, because the nodes which are being used in the form of network here are actually representing objects. And why this is using as an alternative of predicate logic? Why? Because in propositional logic, we are just implementing the Boolean value either true or false, and we are not implementing object over there in propositional logic. But in predicate logic, or else you can say as first order logic, you will be using all of these things. You are actually using objects over there. That's the reason why it is termed as an alternative to the predicate logic, because here the nodes are represented as an object, and the arc, I mean the edges which connects between two objects, I mean it connects between two nodes, are actually describe the relationship. What it describes as relationship. Okay, like we are taking predicate over there, right? Brother of A comma B means A is a brother of B. Now the same thing I can connect A and B. Like how I'm using in that one is, for example, like in first order logic, if I represent this part, brother of A and comma B, what do you mean by this? It means that A is a brother of B. Now if I want to represent the same thing in semantic networks, then I can use A, okay, I can use in any shape, either in circle, either in ellipse or in square, either in rectangle. So here I'm using this one, A and B are what? An objects. And what's the relationship? That brother. Now you can see this is your first order logic and this is your semantic network. Okay. And the advantage here is, suppose example, like if I want to mention here that if any other relation if I want to mention, I can use these objects in that one and I can connect to the same network. I can connect to the same network. Okay. So if for example, like if I'm using wife of B, C comma A, what I mean to represent this as, C is a wife of A. So now what is that? I can connect another node which is I representing as C, and I'm connecting this one. Now this C is actually, this is what a C. Now this C means as an object which is a wife of A. Okay. That means now if you observe in this case that if I'm using first order logic, I'm separating these two things, right? I'm using this relation as one part, I'm using this relation as another part. But if I want to take a semantic network, then I can form all of this relation, I can combine them and I can use them in a form of a network. This is something which is related to family relation. You can include anything with any object provided that has to be a property of an object. So in that way we can connect. So it means like it works like our mind, because in our mind also it forms a network. Like if you think for one person, okay, automatically you will get an idea of other person. Why? Because that other person is interlinked with that person. That's why you will get an idea on the other person as well. So that's the reason why this is very flexible here, and it's fine, very easy. Why? Because we can inference the things very easier compared to the process which we have followed in first order logic. Okay, so that's why this how it means for that. So that's the reason like it can describe the relation between many objects, right? And the thing also in that is that you can categorize the object. Okay, you can categorize the object and you can link those objects. So it's very easy, okay, in semantic networks. Similarly, you can find that it is very easy to understand. Yes, everyone can understand easily, right? And everyone can understand the relationship among themselves also very finds easy while performing semantic network. Now the thing is that how we are going to represent the semantic network. I mean the representation part of semantic network. So if I want to represent the semantic network, then I can use two kind of relation here. The one is how is a relation. This is a relation is something you can consider as a part of inheritance, because you are inheriting the property from parent to child. Okay, I'll be giving you an example here, then you'll come to know that how it works over there. And also I can use a kind of relation, that means which category you belongs to. I mean like for example, if you want to connect with a cat or with any of the mammal, okay, other than human beings. So how you can connect them? You can connect them through a category of mammal here, because cat is also a mammal and we are as a human also a mammal. Then that means the cat can directly can communicate with person, I mean by a human, through a category called mammal. So that mammal is how a relation which connects both of them. That means a human and a cat. And a cat, you can also specify the name of cat if you have given any particular name for the cat. And for a human, you can also categorize either it's like a male or a female, and in that you can also give the names of them. So this is how the things can be easily accessible. I mean the objects can easily accessible because of this property here. So that's why you can see here like there is an example of semantic network. So here you can use the node either in rectangle, we can use in ellipse as well. So you can see that like there are two persons, Jack and Jill. Actually both are brothers and sisters, that means they are siblings. And Jack is what, a male candidate. That's why if you refer to this part, if you refer to this part, you can see that Jack is connected with male person, because male is a category, that is Jack is a member of male persons. Similarly, you can connect Jill, okay, also a member of female person. But now if you connect persons, male or female, with a person category, then you can find that this is a subset of the person category. That means you are categorizing the things based on the categories here. And finally, all of those, either Jack or Jill or any of the persons, can directly finally connects to a category, I mean to an object called as person. Okay, and this call as a person. Now this person is actually a mammal, Now this is a relationship exists here. So this is a relationship is your inheritance concept. So this inherits means it inherits what persons from a super class, I mean from a parent class which is mammal. And because of this what happens is you can perform many types of inheritance techniques, such as you may perform multi-level inheritance and multiple inheritance, right? But the problem even arises here is the problem of exception here. Okay, that is we will be seeing in the latter part. But now as of now we can say that is a relation is how something you're specifying particular mammal. I mean is means you can say that instance, right? Now the person is an instance of mammal, is an example of mammal. Instance here is means you can say as an example of mammal, right? So this example you can take over here. Along with that you can take not only this, you can have any of the networks, and because of this you can connect any of the persons, and you can have you can connect with them because by taking the same network. So this is how the process needs to perform in semantic networks. That means it's giving a meaning here, it giving some meaningful network which gives you an information. So similarly, whenever a semantic network's knowledge representation will be used in knowledge base, then it finds very easy for a machine or for a software where AI application, AI techniques will be used, and they find very easy in order to recollect or in order to connect one particular object with another object through the link of the network. So this is just an example of semantic network. Similarly, if I say there is another example, what is that example here is that there are certain set of facts. Now what we have to do is using these facts we need to form a network. I mean we need to form a semantic networks over there. Okay, so here the same thing I have taken over here. Okay, fine. This is how the facts I have taken already here. What is that? I have taken for the first category is what? I have taken a Tom, which is actually a cat. I mean the name of a cat, which is a mammal. Tom is a mammal, and it's owned by Hershey, a person. That means now you can see that Hershey and Tom both are different types of category. I mean they belong to same category of mammal, but this is how it belongs to one category as cat and other category as person, I mean human. Now there is a property of Tom is that brown colored, and all mammals are animals. That means again for mammals you can say that is an animal. So that means you are taking in that way. Now how we are going to represent these facts in semantic representation? So what is the first thing here is that here what we have taken initially, we have taken what is that? Tom, right? I have taken Tom. Now what is the next thing here is that what is Tom here? Tom is basically a cat, right? Now I have taken this cat here. Now is, okay, what is this relation? Is a cat. Tom is a cat, or Tom is cat. Now what is another thing is that Tom is a mammal, but cat is also a mammal, right? So instead of taking Tom as a mammal separately, I can just connect the cat with mammal. Okay. So what I am doing here is I am just connecting mammal here. So now you can say that Tom is a mammal also. Why? Because as Tom is a cat, cat is a mammal. So it means that only, right? So in that way I can represent the things. Now what is the thing is that I can have Tom. Who owns Tom? Tom is owned by Harsh. Right? Now what's the relation here? Owned by. So you can find that how the simple way by which you are representing the things, right? Now Tom is brown colored, right? So here I can use that Tom is what? Brown colored. So what's the color here? Brown. So color, right? I have taken this color. Now again I can take that all mammals are animals. So what I can take here is animals. There is no specific format that means like you should go from top to bottom, but there's no such specific format, but what we have to do is the connections between the objects should be correct. Now mammal is a animal. Now this is a we have taken, right? So here we have taken inheritance category. That means you can say that animals is a parent class, then mammal is a child of animal, then again cat is a parent of this. That means you can find that it's a multi-level inheritance, right? It's a multi-level. That means anyhow you are implementing inheritance concept here. So because of this inheritance, what is that inferencing will be very easy for us, right? If for example, if there is further, these are only just the statements. If I want to include some more statements here, or if I want to infer something from this one, now directly how can I take this one is like, if I want to connect the existing facts with the another facts, I can merge them easily, because I have a category of mammal, right, and I have a category of animal. If something a human related information is there, then I can connect with them with a mammal. And similarly Harshit also I can connect. If for example here human is added, right, for example if I'm just adding now, but this is just up to this one only. If human is there, now human is a mammal. Now Harshit is a human. So you can elongate this, you can expand this, and it finds very easy. That means you can activate the objects based on our based on our requirement. Okay, that means spreading of activation of objects will be very easy while performing the semantic networks. Okay, so in this way you can represent the things and it finds very easy. So you can get to know that what is node and what is arc, right? Now we'll be seeing about the advantages. So advantages, basically the one thing is that it has a natural representation of knowledge, because as we human being used to think in that way, it's used to think, and it will be formed as a network which finds very easy in order to access any kind of information, particularly at randomly from any of the object. And it conveys the meaning in a transparent manner. Why? Because you can visualize the things easy, you can understand that what is the link here and how it has been evaluated, what has to be linked and what has not to be linked. So it will find very easy because visualizing is there, and because of visualization it finds very easy to get the information or to access the information. That's the reason why the networks are very simple and very easily understandable. And here it defines, that's why it can define the relationships, okay, and the related knowledge which is there can be easily categorized. I can say, I have given you an example just now that how we are categorizing Hershey's as a human, that and how I can categorize a cat as a mammal, and how mammal is an animal. Okay, all of this will be categorized well, and it will be efficient in space requirement, because I said that if I want to add further more facts, then I can use the existing network and I can add both them and I can easily access the information. And node objects represented only once. Okay, so the objects which we have represented should not be taken back and back, because you can use them for other information, for the other facts, right? So this is how the efficiency will be increases. Because of that, space complexity get decreases as you are accessing the same node objects, and just because you are representing them only once. But still we have limitations on semantic networks. This limitations, you can have many things like the problem here is that it takes computational time more at runtime. Why? Because it searches particular node, it will go there, and sometimes you may not get the value. So what happens is that it has to traverse the complete network tree to answer some basic questions. For example, if I want to check a particular human, then for example what I have to do is I have to start from animals, then I have to visit for mammals, then I have to visit for humans, and in that I have to go for a particular persons, and if not I have to go with the other category. In that I have to see if any links are there. So it finds very difficult because traversing is required more to just answer a simple questions or some questions. And it might be possible in the worst case that sometimes even after performing the traversing, that means visiting the complete tree, you may not get the solution what you require or what you have intended for to perform search operation. So that's why, and also the problem here is that actually this network has formulated in as like as human memory, how it will be, right? So human like memory, that means like we 115 neurons and links to store the information, but in practical that's not possible because to have such semantic networks, because how many neurons and how many links, so it finds very complex, right? Even for example, in order to search a particular thing, and if it is at the last case, then it has to search the complete nodes without knowing, without having any idea. So at some instance it's okay, but if the things are become very large, if the networks become very large, then it finds very difficult to search, to particularly search a particular object. Okay, so these are what the limitations. Still many are there limitations, such as quantifier. You cannot quantify the things, right? Like for example, I said cat, I have not said every person. We have used in first order logics like existential quantifier, or what do you say, universal quantifier. So all of these quantifiers are actually used to quantify the particular statement. So because of that, in semantic network there is no such criteria by which you can quantify the statement. I mean, if any statement is there, if any kind of facts is there where we are quantifying the things, like we are using all such peoples or some peoples, so there is no method to present the things in that way. So that's the problem in normal semantic networks. And that also some people believe that like there is a need to improve the logic, because if it is improved, then it can provide to express in more powerful way, and it should be expressed in should have a more robustness. And also some beliefs that it can be improved by incorporating reasoning. Okay, it has to be improved by incorporating reasoning for describing a particular event. Particular event means at particular time one person has did some task, so that doing some task by one person is what an event. I can represent the event in the way of semantic networks. So that means in order to describe such events, there is a need for incorporating reasoning. So that's the reason it has to be improved again. And also binary relations are easy. Binary relations means if you have have given a binary relation like brother A comma B, I'm representing A with B. I mean, like two nodes are there which connected with a relation such as called as binary relation, right? So it is usually easy to represent, but sometimes it is difficult. How? Because I'll give you an example here. If you say Jack is how one person, and party is how something it is to be get connected. But if you see here, the complexity rises here is that Jack caused trouble to the party. Even it becomes like in a binary format, but the things are not simple here. That means it causes one event. Now I am considering this as one event. Now what this event means, what causes this event to happen? Trouble. First thing is what it causes the event to happen? Trouble. Now this cause, where it has happened? To the party. I mean at the party, right? And who has did that? Who has made the trouble? Jack. Who has made that trouble? Jack. So this is how an event. So sometimes you can that means in order to represent the simple sentence also, you have to use our mind in such a way that you can represent the things in a way as like as an event. So you're making them as an event, and you're making that who has caused that event, where it has been performed, I mean where it has been occurred, and what had happened in that event actually. Okay, so all of these things has been implemented here through that event. So in this way, sometimes even if a binary relation, it finds very difficult, I mean not that much difficult, but it finds difficult to represent the such things in this way. Also there are some limitations such as like simple statements is okay, but what if the statements are negation based statements, something like John go to fishing, but if I use negation does not go to fishing, so at that time you may find a simple semantic networks to be not that much easy. And disjunction means you are using you are using what disjunction operator, I mean disjunction connective. So that's why you can see that John eats pizza or fish and chips. So like this kind of statements, in order to represent the semantic networks for them, so it finds difficult. I mean like these are the statements which are come under a problematic statements. Not only that, like we have a quantified, such quantified statements are very difficult. The main drawback of semantic network is that you cannot represent the statements which are quantified statement. Quantified statement is, for example, if I say, there is an example, every dog has bitten a delivery boy. Every dog. Now every means here for all, right? So every dog. Now how to represent this every dog? Every dog means it's okay, we can take dog and we can take a delivery boy and we can connect them, right? But the case here is every dog. That means I am quantifying the statement. I am saying that not only one dog or two dog, every dog. Similarly, I can use the same statement here in the second statement also. You can see every dog, okay, and along with every dog here every delivery boy. Earlier it was a single delivery boy by every dog, but here every dog with every delivery boy. That means here a delivery boy also the quantifying is there. That means the statement is quantifying, and here a dog also the statement is quantifying. So the problem over here is that in semantic networks it won't perform well. I mean it won't support the things here for quantified statement. That's the reason why there is another kind of network which is called as partitioned semantic networks. Very important this one, which are being used to represent such quantified statements. Quantified statement means which will denote that whether it's a single dog, whether it says a two dog, whether it says multiple dogs, whether it says all dogs. So all of these things are statements, such statements are called as quantified statements. So in order to represent such kind of quantified statements, in order to represent their networks, I mean their semantic networks, that's normal semantic networks will have a problem. That's the reason why partition semantic networks will be used. Now what is this partition semantic networks? See, Hendry's is a person who has developed this so-called partition semantic networks. So what it has developed? I mean like how can you represent semantic networks? There is a question should arise. What kind of differences you can find with a semantic network and with a partition semantic networks? So you can find that here the description of an individual object, okay, or the process, and the description of set of objects, okay. The set description involves quantification. That means here, for example, a dog means a single object. Every dog means a set of objects. All dogs, every dog means all dogs means set of objects. So here it connects, it provides a relation for a single object or set of objects. That means simply you can say that it provides a quantification process. That means it involves quantification process in semantic networks, okay. So how this will works, now we will be seeing that. So that's why you can say that this partition means, you know, the network is divided, right? Partition, if you use the term partition, means something has been divided. That means what it has divided, semantic network has been divided into one network or more than one networks, and all of these networks when they divide will be divided in the form of spaces. How they will be divided? In the form of spaces. That means each space contains some of the parts of semantic networks. Now how this works here? So that's why I said spaces, right? So the partitioning will allow the groups or the nodes or the R's to be bundled together, which is called as spaces. Just now I said you the spaces, right? So that each space on that can have nodes and arcs, okay. Each space can have the nodes and arcs. Now what happens in every spaces? Every node or every arc of a network belongs to one or more spaces. You can have single space, I mean it's, if it is a one space semantic network, then the partition semantic network is as like as a normal semantic network only. But if you have more than one spaces, then you can find the difference between a normal semantic networks and a partition semantic network. So how these spaces work here is that spaces may have specific information or general information. So specific information, for example, dog is, you can know, general, it come under general category. But if I specify the name of dog, that means that if I want to represent the name of a dog or a particular person name, then I should should take such kind of objects in a space where I am representing them as in which way, specific way. But if there is a dog is there and if it is a person, that means generic words are there, that means common words are there. So for such kind of things we can use generic relations. Okay, that's why the spaces are divided either in generic format or specific format. Okay. Now we'll be seeing that example here, that how it works. For example, we taken a statement, just concentrate the statement, Danny, the dog bite Jack the delivery boy. Now Danny is the name of dog, right? And Jack is the name of delivery boy. Okay, Jack is the name of delivery boy. Okay, so what happens here is that this partition network Hendris, what happens, you can, how you are representing this statement will behave like as an ordinary semantic networks only. Why? Because here we are not using such kind of generic words, something like all dog, every dog, some dog, something are not, we are just specifying only one dog. So that's why I can use in a normal semantic networks only. So you can see here, if this is how semantic network connects, is that, let us consider that now if I am considering B what as an object, now what is that B? B is a bite. Okay, who has did that? Who is that agent actually performed that? Danny. Who is Danny actually? Danny is a dog. And B is what? A patient. That means who has, to whom it has happened? To Jack. Okay, that's why Jack. Now who is Jack? A delivery boy. Okay, is a delivery boy. So in this way you are representing the things here, right? That was the example, previous example was where we have taken a single space. But now the statement has changed. Now look at this statement here. This statement has quantified statement. This is not a normal statement, this is a quantified statement, because here we are using every dog has bitten a delivery boy. Now every dog is there, that means all the dogs. Okay, it's not specific with one particular dog, there is no particular name for that. That's why I said, for representing such dogs where a dog category has to specify, then you can take, there are in two spaces, the one is specific and one is a general way. Now that's why you can see here, if you represent this part from here to here, if you represent this part D, D is, for example, is a dog, and B, okay, which is event, it has happened. B is what? A bite. Who has did that? D. Now why I am not specifying the name here? Because this is a generic statement. I mean, this is a quantified statement. And P, there is no name of person also, I am just indicating P, whoever it can be, P, right? P is a delivery boy. Now this is one space and another space in this way. So and for another way, I am representing them as what? G. What I am representing them as? G. Now this D is what? A general statement. Okay. So this will be applicable for any of the dog. And you just see, very important here, we have used a universal quantifier here. What do you mean by this? For every dog. For every dog, general statement means for D. Why this universal quantifier means? What it indicates? For every. Okay, so for every dog, for every D, whenever D is a dog, has bitten a delivery boy. A delivery boy is there. So all delivery boys are not there. So that's why here I am not representing universal quantifier for delivery boy. I am just using delivery boy for, I am just using universal quantifier for dog only. So this general statement is one space, and the specific thing which comes under here is S1 is your another space. So SA and S1 are two partitions which are performed on semantic networks. And G is what an instance, is an example of special class of general statement. ISA means what is actually an instance, an example. And we take an universal quantifier so that we can justify the statement that every dog, okay. So in the same way, now the statement, here if you see now in this statement, every dog has bitten every delivery boy. Now this every comes for dog, also every comes for delivery boy. So that's the reason, like there is a difference between this one and that one, that in this one, this universal quantifier is applicable for every dog, and also there is a universal quantifier will exist for every delivery boy, for all delivery boy. For all delivery boy, this starts for all delivery boy, and this stands for all dogs. Again, this is also a partition semantic. So based on the statements you can perform, you can provide the semantic networks. Similarly, if you find another difference is that every dog in town. Now again, there is one object you have added here. The flexibility of having semantic network is that you can add any object between two other objects. So you are adding, what is that? Every dog in town. Okay, instead of every dog, we have taken every dog in town, and here only a single delivery boy is there. So that's why you can find this town dog. Only every dog which are related for a particular town, and this AKO stands for a kind of dog. Okay, town dog means a kind of dog, and here universal quantifier means here every dog is there, right? So that's why universal quantifier is there. But for delivery boy, I am not using universal quantifier because it is only for a single delivery boy. Okay, so in that sense you are representing, that means you are partitioning the semantic network. So that's the reason, like the partitioning of semantic networks will be logically adequate. You can think, okay, you can say that yeah, it's correct, and we are the main important point of partition semantic network is that you are distinguishing between individuals and set of individuals. Like individual is a dog and set of individual means every dog. Individual means a delivery boy and set of individual means all delivery boys. So you are differentiating between both of that by using universal quantifier symbol in semantic networks, and also by dividing a specific semantic network half of the part with the general statement. So you can say that indirectly it is heuristically adequate. How? Because by controlling the search space, okay, by delineating the semantic networks. And also you can say that Hendry's partition, you can also term this as Hendry's partition semantic networks are actually oriented with building natural language. That means this partition semantic networks are a concept of natural language processing. That's why it are being used for building natural language front ends for databases, and also to deduct some kind of information from databases. So that's why it's a part of NLP. This is about the semantic networks. Okay, now the next thing is about frames. So what is frames? See, I think you have learned in C language about structures, right? Structure is what? A collection of, okay, collection of values. I mean, like collection of members, and each members contains some sort of information. So that means it contains some sort of information. So here also it's like it's a record like structure which is collection of attributes and its values. Okay, which is collection of attributes and its values to describe an entity in the world. Like employee is there, employee is an entity. Now employee attributes are what? Employee name, right? employee number, employee salary, and what are these values? Employee name will be XYZ, you can consider employee number, you can consider as 1, 2, 3, and you can have employee salary, something around any figure you can take for that. So all of this you are making them like you can consider the frames as a structured way of knowledge representation. What you can consider them as structured way of knowledge representation. Why? Because you are representing in a way where you are merging the values are there with their attributes to form a single entity, and that entity you can connect with other entity by forming a network among themselves. So that's why you can say that a frame is analogous to a record structure. How? Because it corresponds to the fields and values of record, and the fields of record generally will be called as slots. Okay, here the fields are called as slots and values are called as slot fillers. I mean, like in a frame, if I take an entity, it means that entity consists of slots and fillers. You can call as facets also, you can call as facts as well. So this means that the notations are different, but you can find the similarity between the previous concepts. Okay. So now why we are terming this as AI data structure? Because the knowledge will be represented in a structured way. What you are representing in a structured way, that's why you are representing as an AI data structures. As I said you that what it consists, it's a collection of slots values. Slot values mean fillers. This slot may be of any type and any size. There is no restriction here. It can be of any type and it can be of any size. It can have names, it can have values, and I said you that facets are what? The values of the slots. We'll be seeing with an example here. For example, like I'm just taking an entity called employee. Now I can represent the information here in a record like structured, and I can have slots, okay, I can have fillers, I mean slot values. So here I can use what? Employee name, employee number, so it will be a value here. So you can have something 1, 2, 3, a name will be there, like you can take XYZ. So you can form this as an entity. So this is called as an entity which have slots and fillers, I mean which have attributes and its values, right? So in this way a frames can be represented, and you can connect this frame with any other frames. Okay, so you can form a frame networks. You can connect with other frames, and a knowledge can be extracted easily only when if the frames are connected with multiple other frames. Okay, they are connected with multiple other frames, then only it forms some meaningful information. You will get an idea on that, right? In that sense. So now you can say that you can derive the frames from semantic networks, okay, and you can evolve them as classes and objects. We'll be seeing how it will derive there. And in single frame is not much useful. Just now I said you that if I take only single frame such as employee, it won't give my information. It will just provide meaningful information only when if the frames are in collected manner. That means collection of frames are being used, and if they are connected, then it will give you a meaningful information. In the frames, what happens? Knowledge is about an object or event which can be stored together in the knowledge base, right? So it takes object and event both to store together in if I'm using frames, in where it stores in knowledge base. Now again here it is also applicable in NLP process, but along with NLP it uses machine visions also. Because for example, if a robot is there and if a robot's machine vision means whenever a robot used to see a particular object, it first if frames, because of that frame what happens is that for example, like if he sees a particular human, then he'll come to know that he will update the information in that frame, like the name of a person, right? What is the height of the person, what is the color of a person, what is the age of a person. So that form will be stored like a record like structure. So that's why you can use in machine visions as well. Now consider this a graph, I mean the network. You can see, that's why I said you here, right, frames are derived from semantic networks. So I just taken a network over here and I have used here some of the objects here. How it has been used is here is that you can use, for example, hotel room, which is an instance of room here, which is an instance of room, hotel room, and I mean like again there is an instance called this is means inheritance property, okay, which derived from room category, hotel room. Means room is a general category and this is a specific category, and this in specific the example of hotel room is you can consider as room number 2, something you can give any name for that. And what it contains bed and chair. When it goes to chair, it has to take the property. Now chair is what? A chair is now a particular object, I mean like a particular entity where it has some kind of information that hotel chair is a category. That means again it has derived from a part of inheritance. That means chair is a main category, and in that chair how many legs we have? 4 legs. What is the height of this chair? Okay, so these are what the values. What are these? The values. Okay, you can consider this chair, you can consider what this one, this 4 are 20 to 40 centimeters are what? Fillers. Okay, and these heights and legs, what you can consider these as slots. If I'm using this in R frames, then hotel chair, what it uses? Sitting on, okay, and these are all something location. Now hotel chair, the location where it available in the room. So now if you consider this part, then how should I represent the frame description? Now this is a frame description of the things here is that now I am uses hotel room. Okay, hotel room is how, which I have taken one frame. Okay, in that frame what I have used is here is that specialization of, okay, specialization means is a relation, right? I have mentioned over there, right? So specialization of room, and where is the location of that room? Hotel. What it contains? It contains chair, it contains phone, it contains bed, and all of this will connect to, there will, now this is a linking here. So you can have there, according to this diagram you can find that there are 5 frames are connected with each other, giving an information on the description of a hotel room. So that's why you can see in hotel chair, this is how an entity hotel chair, which has a slot of, what is the slot specialization, the slot value, I mean the filler has chair, height is again 20 to 40, same thing, the legs, all these attributes and its values. Similarly if you go with the phone as well, okay, so this specialization means this hotel phone actually derived from where? From phone. And this mattress will be derived from where? Okay, well, what is the superclass of that? Cushion. So in that way, in this hotel bed is a superclass. That means this is the superclass of this hotel bed is what? Bed. Because this is how the superclasses here, chair, phone and bed. So in this way you can represent the frames, and this is how the structured form of way. Still in that the form, the advantage you may have, and also you may have disadvantage also. So we'll see for that what are these advantages and disadvantages. So advantages here is that you can find, you can relate the related terms easily by forming a individual structure of them. And if you can relate the things easily, then you can get the information, related information. I mean, I'm not saying all the information. What I'm saying is that I'm saying the related information you can easily accessible because you have relayed those information in a form of structures. And the frame representation is flexible and can be used in many applications. Why? Because the concepts are very easy. You are merging the similar things into one part, and you are just connecting them with another things by a link. And it finds very easy to add slots. I mean, like if I want to add some properties in the given structure, I mean in the given frame, then I can add by taking new attributes, and also I can take new relation. That means it is how a dynamic approach, you can expand the frames easily. Okay, you can expand dynamically. That means you can add the slots, and it is very easy for us to include default data. What happens if I include default data, and it will be helpful for us for missing values. Okay, if I include the default data, then it finds very easy for me to search for missing values. So that if I find that the particular value is missing, then I can add them with a particular associated attribute. So because of that, frame representation finds very easy to understand, and it visualizes also in a helpful way, and we can get the information easily with a single instance of representation. Now, but still I have limitations here. Is that the limitation here is that it is a generalized approach. If you see this description, you can find that it is a generalized approach. It's not a specific approach. And because of having this generalized approach, inferencing, that means getting the information from the given set, it becomes very difficult as you compared with the semantic networks, because semantic network means specific object has been associated and it is linked over with another objects, and it finds easy for us to perform inferencing process, whereas the same inferencing process finds very difficult if you perform in the concept of frame. That's why it's not easily processed, which is inferencing process, and means easily means it cannot be smoothly proceed, because I use frame representation which uses generalized approach. So this is regarding about the frames. Okay, so this is how a frames are semantic networks works here. If you compare semantic networks, then you can find partition semantic networks is specific, because you can include such kind of quantified statements which generally might be present, okay, in most of the cases. Okay, so this is about semantic networks and frames. With this, I will conclude this class. Thank you.